Hey guys, welcome back to the CulePodcast. Welcome back to another video. On today's video, we're going to be looking at some surprising news in the media that has been circulating around in regards to some words between İlkay Gundogan and Ronald Araujo. Is there some tension between these two Barcelona players, as some quotes that they have said could be perceived as like a clash of words? But guys, as well, we're going to be talking about Hansi Flick, as there is some update in regards to that. We talked about the Barcelona's managerial search in yesterday's video. We talked about Rafa Marquez. Now, if you guys haven't checked that out, go check that out, because unbelievable that Barcelona are going for Rafa Marquez. And then as well, towards the end of the video, I'm going to be talking about the Barcelona youngsters, and specifically about three players. And that is Marc Casado, Mikel Fey, and as well as Marquinhos, as there is an update in all three of their futures. But guys, before I get started on the video, make sure to follow me on all my social media platforms. Everything's posted down below in the description. Go over there and check me out. That way you guys can stay up to date with everything that I do on the channel. But guys, let's get straight into the video, and let's look at some of İlkay Gundogan's words after Barcelona's loss against PSG in the Champions League. Because after he said this, there appears to be some controversy in the media, and I'm gonna give you the quote, and then I'm gonna be talking about my opinions on them. And these are İlkay and Gundogan's words. The feeling is definitely frustration. Everything was in our hands, but we gave it to PSG as easily as possible. I think I deserved a penalty. I was running and he clearly blocked me. I told the referee that was a penalty and I got a yellow card instead. And this was, in the tackle in which I believe it was Fabian Ruiz. He trips Gundogan, and it becomes a penalty, and it's a penalty. It's a penalty. Barcelona, they deserve to get a penalty in that game. Unbelievable that I didn't. I know it was a soft contact, and soft contact, but the same thing can be said about the Araujo contact with Barcola. It's soft contact, and it impedes them. It impedes that. Continuing on, Gundogan says that we are very disappointed. We felt like we had control of the match before the red card. And now the controversial quote is, hey, this is the Champions League. No matter the opponent, it's impossible to come back if one of your players gets sent off. And then as well, I'm paraphrasing here because I wasn't able to find the Gundogan quote specifically, and I can't bring up the video showing like the full Gundogan interview after the match. But he basically says this, like, hey, if Ron Araujo is not sure of getting to that ball, since it's a 50-50, it's better to let Barcola just go and have the 1v1 against Ter Stegen, because the touch is a little bit heavy. Like, we don't know if Barcola is going to get a good finish on that. Ter Stegen is there. We don't know if he's going to pull like a big save or anything like that. And even if we do concede, we're ahead by 1 goal, and we still, it's 11v11. If you get a red card in that situation, then it changes the whole dynamic of the game. And that's what Gundogan was saying after those quotes. And those quotes, apparently, it didn't fall into the it basically didn't make Araujo very happy, because in Ronald Araujo's presentation for one of his books that he's recently made, in the presentation of the 19th edition of the book, Relats Solidadis, he says this: I prefer to keep what I think to myself. There are values and locker room codes that I think must be complied with. I'm sad, like all culés, we wanted to be able to qualify. We had it in our hands. It's a fortuitous move, 50-50. If you whistle for it, you have to be sent off. And Ron Araujo, on his red card with an hour left, I don't feel responsible, but it conditions the game, leaving the team with 10. There are many things in the context of the game. I know I can contribute to the team. Grateful to the team that is always sending me messages, and to the public that when they sent me off, they sang Uruguayan. The culé has always truly supported me and shown me love. And now just like a different translation, because there could be some words lost in translation right there, but an exact translation is this: responsible, no, referring here to the 100% responsibility for the elimination. And that's true. Ronald Araujo is not specifically responsible for Barcelona being completely eliminated in the tie, but he is responsible for that red card and just completely changing the tie, which does lead to Barcelona's elimination. It obviously affected the game, leaving us with 10 men. Obviously, when I left the pitch, it was an important determinant or condition, because we were left with 10 men, blah, blah, blah. And then I basically, the same thing that I said before. And right here, in the little translation, as the one above, Araujo does take full responsibility for the red card, but not 100% for the elimination. And it's very true, But the thing is, that red card from Araujo completely dictates how the second, game, the second tie goes. And what's funny enough is that there was apparently some controversy between Ron Araujo and Gundogan, and a report from Iman San Antonio, he says this: Gundogan is surprised by the noise that's been created around his words, as he didn't want to offend anyone or point fingers. He was just being sincere, as he's always been. He plans to speak with Araujo tomorrow and sort this out privately. Continuing on, no problems in the dressing room. Some players in the dressing room believe that Gundogan could have avoided pointing the finger at them in public, but however, some experienced players did not see this as a problem, and they ended up losing against PSG. And now, here's my thought on the whole situation. Barcelona, we gave the title away to PSG. Gundogan is a treble winner, a player who has been, in the best team in the world at this point in time under the Pep Guardiola. And what he's basically saying is this, hey, we have to hold to ourselves to a higher standard. We gave the title away. We have to take responsibility for our mistakes. And right there, I don't know if Ronald Araujo is basically shedding some responsibility, because I don't want to cause conflict. But if someone takes that out of context, it could be viewed as like, hey, I'm not at fault here, and that's just a little bit upsetting, because Ronald Araujo, he basically lost us that game, and then lost us the tie. And so, I don't want to cause any, conflict, because these two players are going to be key. But the thing is, Barcelona, they have to be held accountable for their mistakes. Barcelona, they need to look deep and just reflect and analyze just what happened. And, as I talked about in the match reaction, and the watch along, and in the video yesterday, and in the video which we are going to make tonight, in which we talk about the UCL matches, Barcelona, they gave the title away to PSG, and it was just absolutely insane. But now, guys, moving on and talking about Hansi Flick. Hansi Flick, he hasn't been ruled out by the Barcelona boarding staff, because like some media, they're saying like, hey, he's been ruled out and everything like that. His dream at this moment is still to join Barcelona. He hasn't given up. There's currently going to be a meeting between Pina Xavi and Joan Laporta, to talk about Flick, to talk about Lewandowski as well. And as I said in yesterday's video, Rafa Marquez is the lead candidate, the leading candidate to be the next Barcelona manager, and I do not agree with that whatsoever. And some of the reasons why Hansi Flick, isn't in that top role that's been, told in the media, is that he doesn't speak Spanish and he's unfamiliar with La Liga. And if that is the case, that's absolutely, just mind blowing. You're bringing in Rafa Marquez to the first team coach, in which he isn't doing brilliantly in Barcelona Athletic, and it's just because he's cost efficient. He's not going to be asking for crazy signings or anything like that, and as well because he knows the La Masia players. I don't think that that's the right thing. Signing Hansi Flick is a signing of intent. Looking, it's basically saying that, hey, Barcelona, they have ambitions to be a top club in Europe. Signing Rafa Marquez is the complete opposite. I would say he's even a downgrade on Xavi, and you do not want to be doing that. And so, if Laporta does make that decision, then it paints the project for Barcelona in a very, very, bad light. And especially, with reports coming immediately saying like, hey, why is Gundogan coming out here and just saying, hey, we have to take responsibility, we have higher standards, then just it doesn't bode well for Barcelona. It just doesn't. But now, guys, talking about the Barcelona youngsters, we'll be talking about Marc Casado, because according to Fabrizio Romano, Barcelona have open talks with Marc Casado over a new long-term deal until June 2027. The talks are already advancing well, as Barcelona consider him an important prospect for the present and future. And now, in regards to that second sentence, if he is, supposedly this important prospect, why is he not playing on the field? Why is he not, more often out there? In a situation, where Barcelona are very light in midfield, I thought Marc Casado, having more minutes into the build-up of, the Champions League games, he would have been key, for example, because you don't know what's going to happen, suspensions or anything like that in the midfield, injuries. And then, as well as we do know, we have no pivot. We haven't been playing with a pivot for the entirety of the season until Christensen or Sergio Roberto basically filled that role. And I've said it before, I think Marcelo is a very, very good player, and we need to see more of him. And, talking about another, Barcelona youngsters or players who we have talked about is Mikel Fey. Deco, he recently met with Mikel Fey's agent yesterday, and he informed them that Fey is part of the club's plan for the future and that he will complete the preseason with the first team. Barcelona right now are working with the ideas such as that he will be with the first team next season. And in any case, things will depend on the player taking his chances and the coach too. Both parties are clear they will not continue in the reserve team, and if things do not align them, then a satisfactory solution would have to be found. But the initial idea is that he can have minutes with the first team, and that's a report by Mundo Deportivo. And I'm in complete agreement. I think Mikel Fey should be doing preseason with Barcelona. He should have, for example, in the game against Cadiz, I believe that he should have been brought on, maybe have like 10 or 15 minutes. I do understand that it was getting a little bit nervy towards the end, but we need to see Mikel Fey more, towards the end of the season, knowing that Barcelona, they've basically given up. We're going to be having like a trophyless season. We have to develop these youth players and give them minutes. And Mikel Fey in the summer, he's going to have a huge opportunity to impress, to show what he's capable of in the first team. And he's a very, very exciting player, and I desperately want to see him because I think he can be a big boost to the squad. And he does have offers from elsewhere, but he's decided to stay with Barcelona. Hopefully that is the case, and we can definitely see more of him. But now a player that I want to be talking about, guys, as I said, another Barcelona youngster is Marquinhos, because Sevilla, they've asked Marquinhos, but Deco, he says, let's hold off until the end of the season, just to see, what the next coach and the coaching staff, they decide to do with him. For example, if Hansi Flick or Rafa Marquez or whoever comes in the summer says, hey, you know what, I want to keep Marquinhos, then that's a decision we have to make. And in regards to Marquinhos, I think a loan would actually be very, very good for him, because keeping in mind that Lewandowski is here, he's most likely going to be staying for one more season. And then you have Vitor Roque, you have Ferran Torres, you have Joao Felix in there. Marquinhos, he hasn't been really getting tons of minutes in the first team. And, as a young player, you need minutes to develop. You need that in your game. And so I think it's a great move for him to go to Sevilla, a team that is in La Liga. He's going to have a good experience working in a top team, even though they're not doing brilliantly. I actually believe that they're actually short in La Liga, and they're closer to the relegation zone than they are to the top of the table. But still, just my one doubt is that hey, is Sevilla the right team? But I do think that a loan would be a good move for him, and just to develop as a player. But guys, that was it for the Barcelona Barcelona news of the day. What do you guys make of those Gundogan quotes and Ronald Araujo as well, his response to that? Do you guys think that Gundogan is wrong for basically coming out into the media and basically saying that? What do you guys make of Ronald Araujo in response to that? And lastly, guys, what do you guys make of Hansi Flick continuing to dream to become the Barcelona coach? And lastly, of those three Barcelona youngsters that I did talk about, what do you guys make of their futures? But guys, thank you guys all for watching. Thank you guys for tuning in, and catch you guys all in the next video.